Dear Peyton, you probably suspect this is a fan letter about your football accomplishments. That is not why I'm writing today. My wife, my 2 young daughters, and I have had a very stressful year. In January of 2014, we learned that we were finally going to have a son. But the good news was quickly taken away, and we were informed that the ultrasound showed an abnormality on his abdomen. We met with specialists,
and it was confirmed. His liver was stuck in the umbilical cord, technically known as an omphalocele. And at first, we didn't know what to think. That's when we went to the specialists in South Bend, and they referred us down here. Our first visit to Indianapolis was to include a special ultrasound to check the fetus's heart.
And they told us that his heart was shifted over to the right, and they wanted to do an MRI.
And that's when we found out that he had the CDH too. This hole, called the diaphragmatic hernia, allowed the intestines to shift and deposit themselves into the chest cavity.
So he had bowels sitting out of his abdomen up in an omphalocele and bowels sitting up in his chest, and some in his abdomen.
Both issues are extremely rare individually, let alone together.
And at that point in time, it's really time just to step back and try to say, okay, who all needs to come to the table to have conversations with the family?
We met with a team of doctors and specialists in Indianapolis to discuss the situation and options.
The survival rate with omphalocele is still 50-50 or maybe better, and so that problem alone, he was against some hurdles. And then the hole in the test could be associated with a lot of other problems, and so that was a whole other struggle.
It wasn't promising news that we heard, but I didn't hear anybody say that it was the end either. On May 29, 2014, Clay Alexander Shramsky was successfully delivered cesarean at St. Vincent Women's Hospital.
Over the first few days, we had to sort out, was this going to be a very difficult, long illness, or were things going to go better than we hoped?
My wife and I stayed with him for 2 weeks straight while our girls stayed home in Mishawaka, Indiana with grandparents.
So I felt very torn. There was one experience where Tori was here, and she was getting ready to go home, and she just tears, bawling. And I knew then I needed to go home too, but then I was torn because I had him here.
It was tough. We had to share time. His birth began a long struggle to learn how to breathe and eat.
When we tried to feed him, every time we'd get up to full feeds, I think the colon being full of fluid and the intestines put too much stress and pressure on his lungs, and he didn't do well from a respiratory standpoint.
When Clay was 4 weeks old, we learned he would need surgery to remove the intestines from his chest cavity and repair the hole in his diaphragm.
Then the question for me was, do I deal with this omphalocele at the same time or not? I decided not to leave the omphalocele sac alone and try to sneak an incision above that omphalocele sac and fix this hernia.
With such a risky procedure, we were terrified but knew it was necessary for him to live. You're always worried the whole time. You're hoping for the best, but you just don't know.
And he did really well with that operation.
His progress over the next 2 weeks was absolutely miraculous.
And his prognosis for a normal life is very good.
I received a phone call from my wife on Thursday, July 24th, stating that we would be bringing Clay home to Mishawaka, Indiana the following day.
He may have a different looking belly button, but he should have a healthy, vigorous life.
And I think for Clay, you can see that when you see him, that he's a very happy, smiley boy. So I think when you look at him, we all can be very happy that he's where he's at now.
We will continue to have many appointments over the next few years, including another major surgery. But we are truly blessed to have had everything go so well and to have Clay home. Due to your support of
such a wonderful group of professionals, you have helped to give our family the most precious gift in the world. Your hospital allows a medical team of angels to perform miracles and give severely premature and birth defect babies hope.